This is my 12th time doing my intro, and I can't get it right. God damn it. Alright, here we go again. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is a different video from the usual videos that I make on my channel. This is a sequel from my other video, Battlefront 2, a month later, is it good? This is basically gonna be talking about the microtransactions in Battlefront 2 and whether it's good, bad, ugly, a necessity, or if it's not needed at all. So I'm going to be going over pretty much everything about the transactions in Battlefront 2, and I'm going to be basically listing facts off of articles, and I'm going to be giving my own opinion at the end. So yeah, so this video actually was not my idea. This was a new subscriber and a new friend that I met on YouTube. His name is ResQuad Ripple. He did suggest this video, so huge shout out to him. I highly suggest that you check out his channel. He makes very funny content, and he's great at editing, and I think you guys will like his videos. So yeah, so I will try to link out, boy. I will try to link his channel in the description below, and if not, I am going to spell out his name so you can search it and look at his videos right about now. Okay, back to the video. But first, cue the intro. No intro? Shit! So I'm reading this article, gamesradar.com, about the microtransactions in Battlefront 2, and I think this article is probably the best article I've ever read on this topic. And if I can, I will link the article down below if you actually want to read the full thing. But they basically talk about, is the transactions like a modern necessity in video games, or is it just greed? And they go through and they talk about all like the past games of how prices dropped or risen, or like what happened to different games, and they crunch numbers and they basically compare different things. So I just want to briefly summarize parts of these parts in this article, excuse me, because I have to make a really great point, or actually many great points. So I'm gonna be like just taking little snippets out of this. So we all know that EA received the sharp criticism from the loot boxes in Battlefront 2, and let's get back to the 1990s. So they argue, sorry, they argue that since games basically cost like almost like nothing for a company to make a video game. It cost $2 million in the 1990s, compared to like today, like GTA took a whopping $137 million, and different games like that are gonna cost like $80 million, $100 million, stuff like that. So they're gonna so with a full price game these days at $60, a company is going to have to sell millions and millions of copies just to make their money back. So they add these microtransactions in to basically make more money so that they are profiting. The companies are, a business. So, of course, they want to make money. It's not a service to the gamers. So they add these microtransactions in to make money, or to make more money back than they would by just selling millions of copies. Because if a game flops, then they lost a crap ton of money on just that one game, because they developed it and it costs, let's just start a number 60 million. And if it costs hold on, let me get my calculator out here. So if the game costs $60 million and they price it at, let's say, $60, alright? So $60. So times that by how many copies that they sold. So let's say it was a AAA. Okay, by the way, this is all AAA games. So for a AAA game, if it sells, I don't really know what a number is. Let's just throw out 3 million. Does that work? So that's is 3 million too much? I'm not entirely sure. I don't think it is. So it costs 180 million. Is their profit. So, from the look of things, that's really good. It's $100 million profit. But for a huge company that has to pay all their employees, all the maintenance, all the little things, it's gonna total up, and they're not gonna make a lot of money off the video game. Maybe a couple million, if that. And it might sound like a lot, but for a big company, it really isn't. So this article basically said, so basically what I said is the reason. So you add microtransactions in, which is like $10 for whatever, how many crystals you get in Battlefront 2, or I don't really know the actual like summary of it. So if they add that, the people who spend hundreds, or others will spend like thousands on microtransactions, they're gonna make a lot of more money. So this is just like a business move, of course. It's a full blown business move, but so there's this person. So there's pictures on here from Twitter. This guy tweeted out, "I understand the dislike of loot crates. I don't like them either, but a $60 game in 2017 is extremely cheap by historical standards, and most AAA games provide much more play value than games in the past." And then he also said, "And almost all the games were terrible in modern standards. You get much, much better games today." So now the problem is, publisher A, they add loot crates. They price their game at $60. And then the publisher B raises their game to $110 and doesn't have loot crates in it, or doesn't have any microtransactions. Which publisher wins and which publisher dies? So I think that was a fantastic point. So I'm curious what you guys, the viewers, I'm kind of curious what your stance is on just this. Well, actually, I mean, of course, on the whole video, I would love to know all of your opinions. But on this, if you could comment, what do you think is better? Raising the price of a game to like, $70, $80, $100, something like that, and no microtransactions? Or have a game that is $60 but has a lot of microtransactions in it? You decide what you really want on that. And another thing that I thought about, this is coming from me, this is another kind of opinionated thing. Would you rather have a $60 game with free DLC, free updates, and free stuff like that, but also have microtransactions that that you basically, like, I don't know how to say it, that you just buy to enhance your gameplay, I guess, which is, I guess, pay to win. But even taking that away, you just have microtransactions. Would you rather have that, or would you rather have a $100 game or an $80 game with a season pass on top of that? Let's say $30, because I think that's a pretty decent price for a season pass, $30 to $20. And paid DLC, which is like $15, $10 each DLC drop. So I'm kind of curious what you guys think of what is the better thing, because so after I read this article, I started thinking, well, this is the reason why companies do this in the first place. They can't make a like a $50, $30, $60 game and just put it out there, and and that's that. Like games these days kind of have to add at least some kind of paid content in the future, or at least most games. Most AAA games have to add either DLC, paid DLC, and either microtransactions of some sorts. But see, what my take is on this is, I think microtransactions aren't a terrible thing as long as it doesn't hinder or progress players in its own right. So, so basically what Battlefront 2 didn't do. I think it's fine to have cosmetics only. So like skins and stuff like that, and microtransactions. And so stuff like that. And it's basically what Call of Duty's kind of doing. Like Call of Duty World War II has the supply drops where they it's only cosmetics, but you can also buy COD points to buy the supply drops so they can get cosmetic items. So that's technically microtransactions, but the microtransactions don't hinder progress like in Battlefront 2, you know. Down in the comments, I want to know your guys' opinion on whether, you know, microtransactions that are only cosmetic are good, or microtransactions. I mean, of course, no one likes microtransactions that hinder progress, unless you're like a billionaire or millionaire or whatever. But I just want to know if you guys think microtransactions with cosmetics is a good thing or a bad thing, you know. And I would love for you to kind of explain yourself, just so that I have an idea of what your opinion is like, because I'm very curious. But so okay, so let's keep going through this article. I know I've been going off, but like this article has so much stuff in it, and I highly recommend you guys read this article on your own, because it is very, very, very interesting. Okay, so let's see. So they also okay, so in the conclusion they say is a greed or a necessity, and they say EA fumbled the ball with loot boxes, saying they handled it wrong, and if they handled it right, it would have been, you know, a not bad thing, and they wouldn't have got so much backlash. Okay, so this is exactly what I said. So they this is what they said, and I quote: "What form that additional revenue takes, loot boxes, skins, store-based DLC, or something else, will ultimately be decided by what gamers prefer to spend their money on. But either way, it seems money will need to be spent." So what they're saying here is, like money outside of the standard game price is basically a necessity for today's AAA games, which I see. But like okay, as a business view, I completely understand that. You know, of course, as a gamer, you're like, you don't want to spend more money. You're probably already, you know, struggling with money, or or at least like you don't want to spend, you know, hundreds of dollars every year on just games, you know. So my opinion on this whole take, would I rather have a $60 game with microtransactions and a season pass, or, you know, or no season pass? It really doesn't matter. Or take a $100 game and have no season pass, or do have a season pass. It's there's so many options you can do, but I personally think the best way the best thing to do is maybe raise the prices of video games like $10. So keep them at $70, and if you're gonna add microtransactions, make them cosmetic only. Don't make it hinder the game, because in Battlefront 2 standards, it's a great game. Okay, so like this, there's a previous article I read on Forbes.com while doing research for this video. So someone said on Forbes.com, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's Forbes.com, that this is a great game that is hindered by all the problems that EA and DICE have made on top of that. So base gameplay wise, it's a great game, which I do agree with that. I think it has a lot of potential, but it got snowed down. It got snowed down in front of all the different microtransaction stuff. So all in all, I think the microtransaction stuff should not come back unless they change the progression system to where you can't get star cards and weapons and stuff like that in the loot boxes. So what you can do to basically make profit still off of this, put in cosmetics and customizations, you know, like colors and skins and helmets and uniforms that fit the Star Wars lore. It's only cosmetic, you know, so like it doesn't hinder progression, it doesn't give edges or players that spend more money or who have more money, and I think that'll be great, because some people like to spend, you know, $20 just to get some cosmetic stuff for their characters and make them look cool, you know. And you know, of course the balance, okay, and of course the balancing with different things like that is gonna be a problem, but they're gonna have to do it if they're gonna do this. I think this is the best solution, by the way. What I said in the last like minute or two about them adding cosmetics and taking out the other stuff. I do think this would be a step in the right direction, and I think if they change the progression and basically boost what you earn in game, and you should be able to they should add more challenges, give more in crates, and you should be able to get crafting parts easier. And if they do all that, I think this game will get a step up, you know, from a 7, 6 out of 10 to an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Plus all the free DLC they add on top of that to make the game better in general. But if they add microtransactions back, you know, during Christmas, which is coming up soon, or like somewhere in the future, in the near future, then of course it's going to hinder the game's potential, and it's going to go down to, for my rating, it's going to go down to a 5 or a 4, because it's a fun game that's hindered by everything else. Okay, so another thing that I saw was that I saw two things. One, EA is not giving up on adding microtransactions back into the game. But then there's a counter thing saying that they may never get microtransactions, that they are basically analyzing it and seeing what's best for the game. Since EA is a business and not a service, I think they're going to add the transactions back eventually. I'm surprised they haven't done it yet because of Christmas, but I think they will. At least, you know, by Easter. That's like the latest that I'm giving for them to add microtransactions back into this game. Another thing that they could do, if they don't add microtransactions back into this game, and they add like, so while researching this, they took a huge hit on sales and stuff like that, and they didn't lose money, but they didn't gain that much either. So another solution, and I know people aren't gonna like this, is that you remove microtransactions entirely, but you add a paid season pass and DLC that does that. You know, so it's not a good solution, but it is a solution that they might be considering. I don't have any proof on this whatsoever. This is just my opinion, but I do have a feeling that they at least thought about it, and at least they voted on it or something, or going to vote on it, or they're discussing it or something. You know, something. It's in the loop somewhere. I do believe that. I do know that. I mean, I do know that they added or that they said that they're not going to do that, but you know, I have no idea. But so I'm looking through right now on the internet about the Battlefront 2 microtransactions, and apparently they will miss its sales by 2.5 million, their sales target, by 2.5 million copies. So I think that's very interesting, because, you know, that's you know, that's who. So okay, let me get my calculator back out, just because I just want to crunch some numbers real quick. So the base game costs $60, but they also have an $80 one, I believe, and a $120. I'm not entirely sure about that. I don't remember. So I'm gonna use the $80 one, because I'm pretty sure most people actually bought the $80 one, or maybe not most people, but a good majority of them did. So $80. So I did see that they sold about 11 million copies, but they were looking to sell at least 12.5 million. So, you know, times that by, let's say 12 million copies, right? So that is almost $1 billion. Okay, that's a lot of money. But there's a big but here. The game, I guarantee you, to make it and stuff like that, cost over $100 million. I guarantee you it automatically did. And of course, you know, coming back with all the other stuff you have to do, with the money that you make back, you know, to pay back and to pay your employees and all that stuff. It's not a massive profit. It's a good profit, of course, but it's not a good one. So another thing. So let's go to the $60 game. Times that by 12 million again. That is 720 million, which is even less. So that's almost 200,000 less. That's actually, hold on, never mind. Sorry, I'm an idiot. it is $340,000 less than what was the previous number. And that's without microtransactions, and that's even lower of a profit. So, if they add these microtransactions in, that's at least that's gonna at least pay, you know, it might be $1 million, close to $1 million, in just microtransactions alone, and it's probably more than that actually. I'm probably underestimating it. So I find it very interesting that they still actually not considering to add it back, considering that it took such a huge hit on sales. You know, and the EA chief financial officer, Blake Jorgensen, he actually came out and said, over time we will address how we will want to bring the MTX either into the game or not, and what form we'll decide to bring it into. So I take that as that the thing that I was talking about cosmetics and stuff, is that like basically what I said is that, you know, that the thing about doing cosmetics. And another thing that I read is that, okay, two things. First, with the new FIFA transactions, they said that 35% of the players spend money on microtransactions, which, you know, that's a big number, considering that most people go 2 to 3%, like most games, closer to 2 or 3%, which is crazy. So that's on FIFA. So that's EA Sports. So they're making a crap ton of money there, which is why I'm thinking that the way that they're making money off other games and other AAA titles and other microtransactions is the reason why they took out microtransactions out of Battlefront 2, because, you know, it's not a huge hit for them, you know. It's still a hit, but it's not like the end of the world, you know, like that. So that was the first thing. So that right there supports that they might not add microtransactions back. And the second thing is about the cosmetics. The reason why so this is from an article on GameSpot. Okay. Here's why Star Wars Battlefront 2 didn't just have cosmetic microtransactions. So EA has had a lot of trouble with LucasArts. I think LucasArts, right? LucasArts. They've had problems with LucasArts. Yes, they've had problems with LucasArts about getting licensing for different things to have in the game. It's like different cosmetic things, different skins, guns, weapons, or sorry, same thing, weapons. I guess technically star cards, like abilities, you know, characters in the game. So they don't have a licensing for all that, so they can't put that in the game right now. So I think. So what I'm taking away from this article is that they want to continue generating revenue, but they couldn't do it the way that they wanted, which was more cosmetics and less star cards and other stuff like that. But they couldn't because of LucasArts, and they have to like battle it out, like contracts and different things like that, and like licensing, so that they could have that in their game. So I thought that was interesting, that they were struggling to get licensing for a bunch of things, and that in the future it's going to look like it's going to be better. So Jorgensen again came out and said, you know, you probably don't want Darth Vader in pink, but I don't think, because I don't think that's canon, you know. So they're trying to stay in canon, but to do that, they have to get the licensing from LucasArts and all the other, like, or LucasFilms, LucasArts. I don't remember what they're called anymore. But yeah, so the people that own Star Wars before, the people that own, I guess, and same with like Disney and stuff like that. So I know Disney owns Star Wars now, but while making this game, because you know games, you know, take a year, 2, 3, 4 years to make. So LucasArts was still in power then, and I'm 99% sure they were. So of course, when Disney took over, it's probably a little easier, but they still have to figure out all the licensing, and they have to do all this other stuff, and it's gonna take a while for that to happen. So they put all these microtransaction stuff in, to make or put star cards into microtransactions to make revenue, because they didn't have their hands on the cosmetics yet, and they said that they want to add more cosmetics, but it's going to take time. And so my solution was to give the game another year. I know people won't like that, or maybe people do actually. I have no idea, but yeah, like, I think they should have held off for another 6 months, another year, got the game where it was great, where it was in great shape, no bullshit, stuff like that. I think the game would be a lot better next year. Honestly, I think it'd be. I wouldn't mind waiting another year to if it means to make the game amazing. So that is my take on. Oh, sorry, it was Lucasfilm. My bad. It's Lucasfilm, not LucasArts. That is my take on the articles that I have read. So to recap, just to summarize, I think Battlefront 2 can keep the microtransactions if they remove the pay-to-win aspect, which is the star cards and the weapons and the supply drops, or the loot boxes, and add cosmetic items. So it's cosmetic only, similar to how Call of Duty World War II handles their loot boxes. Of course, I don't like loot boxes in general. I don't think many people actually do, but it's from what I've read, especially from the great article that I read on Games Radar, it's basically a necessity these days, and it doesn't mean that you have to buy cosmetic loot boxes, but some people do like to do that. So I think that's going to be a good alternative. I think that they should keep the free DLC. I know it's not business wise, it's not a good move, which is why I appreciate why EA did that, and EA and DICE did that. So I thank you for that. But I do think that they should keep that, like the free DLC and stuff like that in here, because it makes the game basically more enjoyable, because you don't have to pay money for extra content. But yeah, guys, that is my take on it. I do hope you all enjoyed it. I know this is a very long video, but there was so much to cover, and I could honestly make another video just on this, because there is stuff I did not include from different articles. So if you do want that video, leave a like and comment down below that you do, and don't forget to leave me your opinions, because I really want to hear from you guys and what your opinions are on everything that I went over with this. Yeah, that about sums it all up. I want to thank everyone for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your boys, tell your moms, tell everyone that the Slack Attack is now on YouTube. I'm just kidding, dude. I'm sorry, I'm cringe as shit. But yeah, much appreciated. All love to the viewers watching this, and I will see you guys next time.